Hi, everybody. Jules. Oh, Jules, you made my life so easy because you shared the video so it popped right up and I could make sure my mat is indeed in the shot. Thanks for that. All right, got a couple people. Hi. If anyone just saw my Instagram story, I did literally drag Miko on his blanket from my mat out into the hallway. He was really, really digging his time in here today. We'll see if he stays out or if he tries to bust down the door. We'll wait a second or two here. Oh, I did not get my outside time today, and that was quite upsetting. I think tomorrow, thankfully, is supposed to be much better. Laura. All right. We will get started in just a moment here. So I've been feeling some yin goodness recently. Couple other people have as well. So we're going to move today because I'm expecting not a ton of us got outside. But we're also going to stay at the same time. Yes, Jules is like, yes. Yeah, we'll move a little bit, but we'll have a little yin goodness as well, because as much as all of us are like, oh my God, I gotta get out of the house. I gotta go do something. I gotta move. I gotta work out. I'm gonna get fat, whatever. We all are. It's okay. We're all gonna come out of this a little bit different, but at the same time, your brain is moving enough. Your body needs to calm it down. Your brain will follow it, hopefully. So, yeah, whereas we all feel like we need to be doing a little bit more and doing more physical activity, we also need to rest. And we're probably sitting and laying in positions that aren't super awesome. So, if we can sit and lay in positions that are a little bit better for us, we're going to get a lot more good than doing a whole bunch of heavier exercises that maybe the body's like, I don't want to. So we'll go ahead and get started. Got a couple of you on here that I knew were going to show up. Yay. We will start in a tall seat briefly. We will take some movement, but again, ooey gooey, slowy goodness. Towards the end at least, if not for the majority. So go ahead and find your seat if you want to. We can sit onto a cushion. We can sit onto a block, a towel, a blanket, whatever you have. And land. Just land. If that can be your go-to intention, I think that's probably not a bad idea. If you're having difficulty coming up with one, just land. Just be. It's a pretty stellar one, 24/7. Rarely have we completely landed, or do we allow ourselves to completely be. Go ahead and close your eyes if it's comfortable to do so. You're welcome to keep them open. If you do so, keep them low at a point on the floor that is not super stimulating or super distracting, rather nondescript. Feel where your hands land into your legs, and feel where your legs land into one another and into the floor. Allow this idea of landing to be felt through a whole body. Where does the physical body land on your mat, on the floor? Feel where your hands land onto the legs. Feel where the shoulders land away from the ears. Allow the tongue even to fall away from the roof of your mouth. Eyebrows to soften. Jaw and ears to drop away from the top of the skull. And landing with your awareness to the breath. Observing the breath as you stepped onto your mat. Maybe we got off of our work call. Maybe we haven't moved a whole lot today and the breath is a little tired or unmotivated. Slowly start to lengthen the breath. Feel like the body takes a longer amount of time to take it in, moving the breath more slowly. And same with the exhale, starting to even out through both sides so that they begin to match. But again, keeping them relaxed and slow. Feeling where the breath expands into the abdomen, into the torso. If we can become aware of a three-dimensional expansion of the breath, not just forwards, not just upwards, but into back body, into the sides. And notice your breath as we move through our practice. In the poses where we may move a little bit more, the breath might become short or choppy. And in the poses that we do land in for a minute or two, take this extra time to notice and pacify the breath. If it's sped up, if it's changed, if it's become rocky or choppy. Allow those times for it to smooth out and become reacquainted with this slow breath. Set an intention if you'd like. It can be to land or something that is more specific to you, your personal mood or situation at this point in time. And bowing your head to your chest to seal it in. Please blink the eyes open and take the head up. Setting any props you have to the side, making sure they're still within reach if you know you'll like them. Blocks at the top of your mat or just off to the side. A strap or a towel if you know you like them for types of binds we might take behind the back. And go ahead and come into a wide leg child's pose, please. Knees a little wider than the hips and rib cage. Allow the torso to rest on or between the legs. Forehead can rest, arms staying forward toward the front of the mat. And landing here in a different shape, observing the breath, observing how it may change through the torso, through the abdomen. The spaces that you naturally feel or the spaces that become a little more difficult to move the breath into. A little bit more restriction, perhaps, in the lower belly if it's landing onto the tops of the legs. Maybe we feel it intensified into the outside of the shoulders, rib cage, and arms as we have this extension through the upper body. Please build back up onto hands and knees, coming into tabletop, knees below hips, hands below the shoulders. As you inhale, take your right arm straight out in front toward the height of the shoulder. As you exhale, release the palm back to the floor. Left arm, inhale, extend straight out. Exhale, release back to the ground. Left leg, inhale, straight back behind, flex the foot back. Exhale, release. Right leg, inhale, extend back. Exhale, lower down. This time, right arm straight out in front to stay. Breathing here as you exhale, feel right rib cage. Feel the navel hug back toward the spine, stabilizing. Continue to raise through right thumb. And release back to the floor. Left arm, inhale, extend straight forwards. Again, hug in through left rib cage. Notice if the arm lifting is pulling you into a slight back bend, a bit of extension. And release left hand to the floor. Left leg extends straight back behind. This time, cross the left toes over right leg, letting it land toward the edge of the mat or maybe past. Curving, take your right shoulder toward your right hip. Look back to the landed foot. Lengthening through whole left side, feeling from left foot to left shoulder. Still breathing as we stay here. Inhale, chest back to the front, and lift the left leg straight back behind. Stay once more. And release left knee to the floor. Right leg, inhale, extend straight back. From here, cross the right foot more toward the left edge of the mat. So over the top of the left calf, left foot. Ground through the toes and look back toward your left hip, toward that right foot that has landed. Lengthening through right side, keeping the breath expanding into rib cage, into side of the hip. Inhale, chest back to the center. Extend the right leg straight back behind for one more breath. And release the right knee to the floor. Thread the needle. Place the left hand just slightly more forwards on your mat. Inhale the right arm up to the ceiling. Spin open through right chest, right shoulder. Exhale, thread right arm underneath left shoulder. Right cheek or temple can land. We can leave left hand planted to the floor to help twist open. Or if you'd like, reach the left hand more toward the front of the mat, adding that extension once again through shoulder and through the arm. In all of these poses that we stay in, continue to expand the breath, even into the spaces that it might be more challenging to do so. Just like our wide-legged child's pose with compression into the abdomen, knowing we might not fully expand into this space, keep our awareness there. Left hand plants back below left chest, please. Right arm, inhale all the way back up toward the ceiling. Open right chest, right arm. Release right hand back to the floor. Other side, left arm, left hand. Inhale, extend up, twisting open. As you exhale, slide left arm under right shoulder. Left cheek or temple can land, pressing the hand to the floor to help twist. If you'd like, extend right arm forward, finding that extension through the right arm. And continue to breathe into left rib cage. Maybe you feel it into one of your shoulder blades, maybe the outside seams of the torso. And plant the right hand back below right chest or shoulder, please. Inhale, take the left arm straight up to the ceiling. Open the chest, open the arm again. Exhale, release to tabletop. From here, shorten your right side. Look back toward right foot, like we did with our extended leg. Inhale back to the middle like cat-cow, but side to side. Shorten your left side, lengthen right side. Inhale back to the middle. Exhale, right shoulder toward right hip. Inhale, middle. Left shoulder toward left hip. Back to the middle. Tuck the toes, move back to down dog. Leaving the knees a little bit bent, or starting to straighten them, knowing that we do not have to get them all the way straight, keeping the bend in the knees so we can extend the tailbone a little bit higher up. Let the spine be the priority, not the legs. On your inhale, move into a plank or a kneeling plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor, landing. Keep the hands back around the rib cage. As you inhale, lift the chest, float the hands. We'll keep them back. Shoulder blades pulling back, triceps as though they're lifting toward the ceiling, back behind you, still breathing. And release hands to around the rib cage to the floor, pardon me. Child's pose, hips back toward heels. Inhale, lift back up to tabletop, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Tuck the toes, back to down dog. Walking the feet forwards, come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Again, knees can bend, putting priority at the angle of the hips, angle of the spine, as opposed to how straight we can get the legs. We can keep the knees bent, let the torso land on the legs.
Cross the arms at the elbows. Let the head and shoulders hang forwards. Nod the head yes. Shake the head no. And release the arms back toward the floor. Inhale to a half lift. Chest lifts forwards, extension through whole spine. Exhale, back to our forward fold. Inhale, raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Inhale, raise arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Fold, plant the hands, step your right leg back to runner's lunge. Stay to breathe here. We can keep hands to the ground, or we can set them onto blocks, onto books, onto cans of soup, and really feel into the hips with this one. Keep the left knee bending forwards. Right heel continues to press back. And set your right knee to the floor, please. From here, we'll pivot on the right knee. If this causes you to not face the screen, we might need to move where your screen is or move yourself. We will be doing this on both sides. Point the right toes behind you so you stand up onto the right knee, and we can ground the left footprint to the floor for gate pose. If this stance is not lined up right, feel free to change where your foot or knee land. And slide left hand down the left leg. Right arm reaches up and over. Feeling the stretch from right knee, maybe up into right hand if you'd like. If this is uncomfortable in the shoulder, we can wrap the hand behind the back instead. On your inhale, raise both arms back up overhead. Hands land down in front of your right knee, coming into outrigger pose. This is a pose we would usually take in yin, so we might need to walk the left foot a little farther out. We can stay here onto hands, pressing the hips back behind you, even tilting the pelvis almost like a cow pose. Think of pointing the tailbone slightly upwards to find a stretch through the inside or back side of the left leg. We can stay to hands. We can lower to elbows if you'd like to. And if putting this much pressure on your knee is not comfortable, we could take Skandasana here instead. It will bring it more into the right hip as well, but we'll have a similar shape throughout the left leg. Or we could take our single leg dragonfly pose or our revolved head to knee pose, pardon me. And please build back up onto the hands. From here, walk the left foot a little bit closer to you, standing back up onto right knee and left foot. Plant your right hand at the back of the mat. Lifting your left leg, hug back through left glute, coming into our modified side plank. There's not a whole lot of modification here, really. It's very challenging to lift that leg. Try to make sure we're hugging the heel back behind you as well. If you'd like, extend the left arm or keep it to left hip. And from here, please plant your left limbs at the back of the mat as well, pivoting around, coming into tabletop. Tucking the toes, move back to down dog. On your inhale, shift to plank or a kneeling plank. Exhale, lower. Take your vinyasa, lowering to your back bend. If you'd like, low cobra. We can float the hands like we did before or keep them to the ground. And exhale, back to down dog. And walk, step, or hop forwards. Come back to a half lift at what is now the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Inhale, raise the arms. Forward fold. Half lift, extension into the spine. fold, plant the hands, step your left leg back for runner's lunge. Right knee continues to bend forwards, left heel presses back, staying to breathe. And release your left knee to the floor. So we should face the same direction that we did last time. Point your left toes behind left knee and come to stand up. Right foot, whole sole of the right foot grounds. We can adjust where it is on your mat if you need to. Slide the right hand down right leg. Left arm reaches up and over for our gate pose. And usually in gate pose, we figure out, did I do the same side? Am I on the correct side? We should be good. And lifting up, raise the arms up overhead. Plant the hands down in front of your left knee, tipping the tailbone back, pelvis back, as though we were coming to cow pose, moving the hips back behind you in space, thinking of taking them over the calf instead of over the knee for outrigger pose. We can stay to hands. We can lower to elbows if you'd like. And again, if too much pressure is here on the knee, we could take Skandasana, our side lunge, or even come into a seat and fold forwards. Similar, slightly different, but with less pressure onto the knee. Rebuild back up onto the hands. From here, stand up onto the left knee. We'll place the left hand at the top of the mat, coming into our side plank variation. Left hand lands. Right arm can lift or stay to hip. Lift through the right glute, outside of the right leg. Move the heel back behind you slightly, making sure we're targeting the outside of the hip. And let your right limbs land back at the top of your mat, back to tabletop in our original direction. Hands below shoulders, knees below hips. Inhale, lift to cow pose, shoulder blades back. Cat pose, exhale, round. Inhale, back to cow. And tuck the toes back to downward facing dog. Next inhale, shift to plank or a kneeling plank. Again, your choice. Lowering, taking your preferred vinyasa. We can hover the hands. We can low cobra if you'd like. We can come into high cobra, floating the legs. Knees, hips back, move back to down dog. Walk, step, or hop forwards at the top of the mat. Inhale to a half lift. Grabbing a strap, towel, or sock if you'd like, interlace the hands behind the back or grab onto our prop, helping to open the chest, giving it more space if we need to. And fold. Torso could land onto the tops of the legs. Knees can keep a little bend. Next inhale, come back up to a half lift, hands back to knees or shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Inhale, raise the arms back up. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back with your right leg. Come into a kneeling lunge. Right knee to the floor. Lift the torso, lift the arms, raising up, hands overhead. Stay to breathe here. If you'd like, we can return the hands to the left leg. If you'll notice where your back bend is occurring, it may be in the right hip already. It also may be more in the spine and into the tummy. Pull it back slightly if you need to. It's a good reminder. Back up so that your hips are over your knee. Find a bit of core engagement and then start to bend back in, keeping our core. And next exhale, release the hands back down around the left foot. Please walk the left leg wide, coming into lizard pose. We'll add our twisted variation. Left hand onto left knee or left thigh, spinning the chest open. Heart center, chest toward left knee, front knee. If you'd like, we could add on maybe bending right knee. Again, this is a mild practice. We are supposed to be being gentle. If you want to, go ahead and reach back to take that foot. If you feel like there's a lot of effort to do so, or if we get frustrated, if we can't take that bind, let it go. Release right toes back to the floor if they're not already, and walk the left leg back below the chest. Straightening right knee off the floor. Inhale, left leg back to three-legged dog. We can start to open the hips, left hip over right, raising through the outside of left leg if you want, or keep the hips level. Inhale, hips back to level if they're not already, and release back to down dog, resting here for about 3 breaths, please. After your exhale, inhale to plank or a kneeling plank. Lower your vinyasa once again if you'd like a vinyasa, or if you'd prefer, coming into locust pose. Arms flown back by the sides, lifting through whole back body. After our up dog, go back to down dog. After locust, hands around rib cage, everybody back to down dog. Walk, step, or hop forwards. Half lift back to the top of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Other side, inhale to raise the arms. Forward fold. Planting the hands, step your left leg back into kneeling lunge. Left knee lands onto the floor. Inhale, lift the torso away from the right leg. Raise the arms. Staying here, arms can stay overhead. If this is too much upward expansion, go ahead and land the hands onto the right leg. And again, if you need to, as a reminder, back the hips up, hug through the navel, and then see if we are into the navel and the spine, or if we can bring it more into left hip flexor. And next, exhale, release the hands down around the right foot. Come into lizard pose. Walk the right leg outside right arm. Heart, navel, continue to extend forwards. Adding our twist. Right hand to left knee, open left, pardon, right shoulder, right chest. If you'd like, we can bend left knee. If it is comfortable enough to do so without too much struggle, without too much of a grimace or a gritting of the teeth, go ahead and grab the foot. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, let it go. And release. Tuck the left toes. Walk the right leg back below the chest. Straightening the left knee off the floor. Inhale, right leg back to three-legged dog, keeping the hips level, or if you'd prefer, open the hips, raise through the outer seam of right leg, activating the outside of the hip again like we did in our kneeling side plank. Same strength. If you'd like, bend the knee or stay level. Inhale, everybody level hips back to our three-legged dog, and down dog, release. Your choice, vinyasa or coming into locust pose for about 3 breaths. When you're ready, everybody back to down dog if we're not there already. Walk, step, or hop forwards. Half lift back to the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Shift the feet and the legs toward one another for chair pose. If you prefer the variation with feet and hips staying at hip width, you're welcome to take that as well. Inhale to take the arms up overhead. Hands to heart, sit back to chair. Raising your right heel away from the floor, keep right ball of foot, right toes landing. Release right heel back to the ground. Lift through left heel, shift most of the weight into right leg. Release left heel to the floor. Leg strong, inhale, stand all the way up. Exhale, fold, plant the hands. Right leg back into a warrior two stance. Right heel grounds to the floor. Spiral the right arm behind, left arm out in front. On your inhale, reach back to reverse warrior. Right hand can find right leg. On your exhale, left elbow onto left thigh. Stay here for one breath. Next, inhale, reverse warrior. Press the left foot to the floor to reach up. Exhale, left elbow to left thigh, 2 breaths. Next, inhale, reach back, reverse. Spiral the hands down around left foot, runner's lunge. Back heel off, finding our runner's lunge stance again. Maybe it ends up being slightly longer or slightly wider than it was in the beginning. Right hand stays. Inhale the left arm up to the ceiling, revolved runner's lunge. As you exhale, goalpost the left arm, start to pull back behind the back, opening the chest, squeezing between shoulder blade and spine. Inhale, raise the right arm, pardon, left arm straight back up. Exhale, goalpost, hug back slightly. Inhale, extend the left arm. Exhale, strong twist. Inhale, raise up. Release the left hand back to the ground. Step straight back to down dog. Stepping the feet about a half a footprint or so length. Taking the feet a little closer to the hands, reach your right hand back to grab the outside of left calf or perhaps left ankle. Pulling through the right elbow and right shoulder. Hug right shoulder into the back, starting to take the chest underneath left shoulder. Straighten back out, right hand plants forwards. On your inhale, take your right leg back to three-legged dog. Exhale, step forwards to our warrior two stance. We might need to lengthen once we land. Ground the left heel, spiral the left arm behind. Right arm forwards, coming into warrior two. On your inhale, reach back, reverse warrior. Right elbow onto right thigh, staying for one breath, please. Next, inhale, reverse warrior. Propped side angle once again. Exhale, staying for 2 breaths. Next, inhale, reach back, reverse. Exhale, spiral the hands down around right foot. Runner's lunge, back heel off. And revolved runner's lunge. Change where the feet land if you need to. Lifting right arm up toward the ceiling. Open through the chest and right arm. Exhale, elbow bends wide. Goalpost shape, helping twist open a little bit more. Inhale, raise the right arm. Exhale, goalpost, pull the elbow back. Inhale to raise. Exhale, twist back. Raise the right arm. Release right hand around right foot. Step straight back to down dog. Stepping the feet forwards about a half footprint's length again. Reaching left hand back toward the outside of right calf or maybe right ankle. And inhale, extend left hand back out in front. Down dog for 2 breaths. Walk, step, or hop forwards. Come back to the top of the mat. Half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Take a brief balance pose, coming into tree pose, just about 5 breaths. Bringing hands to heart center, shift your weight into the left leg. Bring right heel inside left ankle for our kickstand, up into the left calf if you'd like, or above the knee joint into the thigh. And on your next inhale, see if we can float right knee forwards to come out. And release right foot to the floor. Weight shifts into right foot, right leg. Turn the left heel inside, right ankle. Finding our prop here, if you'd like, bring the left foot up inside right calf. Up above the knee if you choose. And inhale, float the left knee in front of the hip and release the left foot back to the floor. Weight even between both feet. Again, your preferred stance for chair pose, feet and legs together or feet and legs to hip width. Inhale the arms up overhead, hands to heart, sit back to chair. Lifting your right heel once again, most of the weight into left leg, but right pad of the foot still firm to the floor. Release right heel. Lift the left heel, strong through the right leg. And release left heel. Stand up. Inhale, arms up overhead. Goalpost back, bend elbows wide. Exhale, open the chest, leaning back. 2 more. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, elbows wide, strength back between the shoulder blades like we had in our runner's lunge. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, strong back. Raise all the way up. Forward fold, plant the hands. Step back with your right leg for crescent lunge. Inhale to raise the arms up overhead. Hands come to heart center. From here, if you'd like to, you can ground the back heel as though we were in Warrior One, or you're welcome to stay in crescent with the back heel lifted. As you exhale, fold, hands, pinky fingers on or toward your left leg. Inhale, stand back up. Exhale, fold, hips stay in the middle, legs strong, making sure we're not veering off to the side. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, fold navel, fold hands over the left leg. Stand up, making sure we're pulling the navel back with us. And this time, inhale, raise the arms up overhead. And fold hands down around the left foot. Again, your choice. We can stay in crescent or we can land into Warrior One. Pyramid variation, back heel off or on. Make sure the left hip is still sitting back behind left heel there. We're not swinging off to the left side. Right hip pulls forward slightly. Strength through right side as we fold. Bend back into the left knee. Take the fingertips forward onto the floor, onto block. Stand up into left leg, right foot straight back behind. Half Warrior Three. Like our kneeling side plank, keep the left hand to the floor or a block. Start to open right hip over left. Right hand can come to right hip. Maybe extend the right arm up to the ceiling. Similar shape as our kneeling side plank from the beginning. Level the hips back to our half Warrior Three. Release the right foot, forward fold. Half lift. Fold, plant the hands, step your left leg back into crescent lunge. Inhale to raise the arms up. From here, take the hands to heart center. And again, your choice. Back heel lifted for crescent, back heel grounded at about 45 degrees for warrior one. Exhale, fold, chest toward right thigh. Press the right foot into stand, lift up. Exhale, folding toward right leg. Inhale, lift up. Navel pulls back as well, just like our kneeling lunge. Once more, exhale. Stand back up, keeping our footing. Your choice, left heel on or off. Raise the arms up overhead. And fold to our pyramid variation. Back heel on or off. Right hip continues to sit back, moving back. Left hip draws forward slightly to start to square the hips. And bend back into the right knee. Take the fingertips forwards. If you need to, take a couple little steps to really bring the weight into right leg. Lifting left leg straight back behind, half warrior three. Keep your weight into right limbs. Start to open left hip over right, raising through the outside of left leg. Outer hip, outer glute. If you'd like, raise the left arm or keep it to the hip or low back. Inhale, level hips back to our half warrior three. And forward fold, release the left foot back to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Coming into Malasana, or garland pose. Heels a little bit wider than the hips, toes a little wider than the heels. Lift the arms up overhead. Hands sink to heart center as we sit back. Elbows on or inside the knees, continuing to press wide. Feet might need to walk closer together or farther apart. Pressing the hands down to lift the chest, lengthen the spine. And coming into a seat in whatever fashion is easiest and safest for you. If it's comfortable to just sit right back, go ahead. If it's not, come to hands and knees first and make our way into a seat. And I'm going to spin sideways so you can hopefully see a little bit better. You're welcome to stay on the long ways of your mat. Take your left leg straight out in front, my favorite. Cross the right knee over the top of the left thigh. This is half shoelace, so the top leg is in an extra crossed figure four shape. So the knee is almost over the knee instead of staying square and wide. Lifting tall here and folding, or if you'd like, we can take the bottom leg into the same shape. Feet even with the knees, the thighs, or the hips. Same as cow face pose. In yin, we call it shoelace pose. Some things have a different name. Lifting tall or folding forward, double, or with the left leg straight. And sitting up, and we will switch which leg is on top. So if we're taking our half variation on the other side, straighten your right leg, please, and bend the left knee over the top of the right thigh or right knee. If we'd like to take both, thread the right knee, right leg, back as well. So feet start to become towards symmetrical on either side of you, lifting tall or folding forwards. Lifting up, come into a tall, wide leg seat, please. We've been working with the outside of the hips. We'll work a bit with the inside of the hips. Hands behind the hips to sit tall, starting to lean forwards, or if you'd like, we can walk the hands farther out in front. Miko's back. Do you see the paw under the door? How many of you have animals that bust in? They're so cute though, gosh darn it. And lifting up. Your choice. We're going to move back to the outer seam of the hips. If you'd like to take figure 4, you're welcome. If you'd like to take fire log, you are also welcome. Fire log is the knees wide instead of the knees toward stacking. If you'd like to take pigeon, feel free. I'm going to take pigeon because it's been a while since I've taken pigeon. If it's also been a while since you've taken pigeon and you don't want to take pigeon for that reason, you can take either variation. We'll stay for about 10 breaths in each half. Figure 4, your desired shape. Fire log, 10 breaths or so with each leg crossed, or pigeon if you'd prefer. Choose your own adventure. And after the next breath or two, start to consider switching sides. Coming into your other side if we're in a seat or if we're on our back, simply crossing opposite leg or opposite ankle over top. If we're in pigeon, maybe through three-legged dog or down dog, or you can even sit onto the hips and swing the opposite leg in front. And when you're ready, add on any additional shapes you'd like. I would highly suggest, it's the 3 that we always end with, but there's actually a good reason for ending with all 3 of them. Taking bridge, taking happy baby, and taking recline butterfly. If you'd prefer, you can take legs up the wall. We can do bug pose, any safe and passive inversion. We've just done a whole lot of grounding. If flipping upside down makes you squirrely, maybe don't undo all the stuff we just did, but if you're absolutely craving it, go right ahead. And when you are ready to do so, flip to your preferred direction for Shavasana. We're not there quite yet, as I said before. Go ahead and complete your practice. Any twists you'd like, any asymmetricals first, and then ending with 1 or 2 of those key 3. Bridge pose brings extension back into the hip flexors and strength into the glutes. Our happy baby, more of a stretch into the inside of the hips, the groin. Now recline butterfly grounding, yet also bringing a stretch to the inside seam of the leg. Your choice on how to end your practice. And when you are ready, and take your time, you can even finish your practice after I end the live stream. It's completely up to you. You can keep going for the next half hour. Land into your preferred shape to rest. Knees can be bent and knocking in if hamstrings and low back are uncomfortable with them extended. Or if you'd like, extend the legs all the way out. Maybe take a rolled up towel or blanket underneath the knees. Happy medium in between those two options. And feel the back body rest. Feel where the back of the head rests. Soften the muscles of the face, the jaw, and the throat. Notice where the shoulders and the arms have landed. If they could be even the slightest bit more comfortable, adjust them so they are. And breathe into the rib cage, finding our three-dimensional expansion of the breath once again. Expanding into all sides. Feel the inhale into the floor, out toward the arms, toward the ceiling. And feel the exhales collect back in and down into the floor. Sending the breath a little lower, down into lowest ribs, down toward the hips, into the abdomen. And again, exhales collect back inside the body and back down into the floor. Notice where the hips and the legs land, adjusting if they could be more comfortable. Breathing down into the base of the spine. Full expansion downward toward the pelvis. Exhales back in and down into the floor. Inhales expand into every side of the body. Exhale, land back again with the points of contact from back body into floor. Releasing the control and the shape of the breath, and observe what's already there, even if there's a long pause between one half of the breath to the next. Honoring whatever shape the breath is in, if it's sped up, if there was a pose or a shape that made us anxious for one reason or another. And just taking time to be the observer instead of the doer. Even many acts of self-care still involve doing something. Allowing complete rest. Return your awareness back to your intention. Breathing this intention throughout whole body. How does this intention feel? How do you feel when you think about it? If you could fully embody this intention, what would it look like? Could you feel it right now? Can you bring energy or essence of this intention into physical body, into your mental awareness, your energetic and breath awareness? Practicing feeling this intention, even if sometimes it only happens half-heartedly. Returning to this intention, continuing to practice it like we'd practice anything else. Becoming more familiar with what it is, how it feels, and also familiar with the things that stray us away from this intention, or our thought patterns, our habits that bring us farther away from this intention. Having landed on your back, bring your awareness back into the limbs, into the shape of the body. And please roll on to one side, landing in a different shape. Press your hands into the floor and come up into a tall seat, landing yet again. In the same room, in the same space, with a different task, a different shape. Allow yourself to land. Please call to mind your intention once again, taking it with you, coming back to it in any form, whether it's movement, awareness, breath, or action. Bring your palms together at heart center, bowing your head to your chest, acknowledging your breath, your peace, and all that you are. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. The idea of landing has been kind of crucial for me personally. I'm sure many of you, as I find myself in the same room, in the same house, with my cat and my mat. I'm at home and I'm not at work, or I'm not going and doing my usual things. Landing to do a task has been hard because I no longer have state dependency to remind me what I'm doing. So the idea of landing when you sit down to do a task so we're not distracted by something else. It doesn't just apply with this current time period, however long it lasts. Pardon. But just in general, you know, I think it's easy when you're going into your office. It's work time. If we're going into the studio, it's yoga time. But here in the same place, one room or a couple rooms could have a few different functions. And if we set out to do something, reminding ourselves, this is my intention for right now. This is my purpose. This is my presence. This is where I'm landing. Even if it's in the same chair, this is my mindset and this is my attitude, and I am here. I am present with my activity, whether it be work or yoga or meditation. Here I'm working. This is also the same space that I practice right now too. So drawing that line for me, it's also 6 feet away of where I just did my taxes. So, you know, landing has been a challenge, but I know we can do it. We just need to have that little attitude and mindset adjustment. So I hope it's helpful. Kate, I feel you. Also, if there's been, I know there's been some connection qualities on my end. We upgraded our internet But we called CFU and we're like, hey, it's like a little bit better, but not like twice as good as it's supposed to be. We have an old style of router. So if you're running into that, maybe check your router. I checked mine. We have one on the way. So my connection will be even more stellar next week. So hopefully we will be foolproof and clear as a bell. And yeah. Thanks, guys. This helps me keep some normalcy. I hope it does to you too. And yeah, keep doing the yoga, keep landing, keep practicing. I'll see you later. Lindsay's on Sunday. I'll have all the classes up for next week, today or tomorrow. So we'll see you on a Zoom call. Thanks, guys.